Greetings, viewers. Today we are diving into the inspiring journey of Sula Vineyards, a story that exemplifies the perfect blend of passion, innovation, and dedication. Let's explore how Sula grew from a small dream into a thriving business. The captivating Sula Vineyards is nestled in the heart of the picturesque Nashik Valley in Maharashtra, India. It was founded by Rajeev Samant, who returned from California with the vision of establishing a vineyard in his hometown. Rajiv discovered that the Dindori Hills in Nashik shared all the same characteristics as Napa Valley, including warm days, cool nights, healthy rainfall, nutrient-rich soil, and a free-draining soil. After studying the climatic conditions of California, he spent 3 months working in a winery before coming back to India. In 1996, he established his first vineyard and began his mission to produce the best wine India had ever seen. Over the years, Sula Vineyards expanded its vineyards and offerings, producing a wide variety of wines, including red, white, rosé, and sparkling wines. Sula Vineyards is considered one of the pioneers of the Indian wine industry with 50% market share, and Sula is India's largest wine producer and seller as of March 31, 2021. Wines are distributed by Sula under a variety of well-known names. Popular brand names include Rasa, Dindori, The Source, Satori, Madeira, and Dia, in addition to the company's flagship brand Sula, which created the category of wine in India. From 33% in 2009 in the 100% grape wine category to 52% in value in financial year 2020, it steadily expanded the market share, reaching about 52.6% by value in 2021. The success of Sula Vineyards played a significant role in popularizing wine consumption in India and contributed to the growth of the country's wine industry. The company also played an essential role in wine tourism, attracting visitors to the Nashik, India's Napa Valley region to experience the vineyard tours and wine tastings, which marked the birth of wine tourism in India. Sula alone has a total land area of 2,600 acres, while Grover Zampa has 460 acres, and Fratelli Wines has 240 acres. Grover has an average inventory duration of 875 days compared to Sula's 465 days, while having 5 to 10 times more cultivation than Fratelli, that has an average inventory time of 595 days. Inventory time indicates the average time per day that a company takes to turn the inventory, which also includes the goods which are a work in progress for sales. Did you know that it would take at least 4 to 6 years to produce your first glass of wine if you were to plant wine grapes on your farm today? This is due to how exhausting it is to set up a vineyard for making wine. First, the soil should be checked for pH and nutrients, and only then should the cultivation process begin. If the soil has the proper pH and the necessary nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but if the land doesn't meet these requirements, it must be fertilized to make it the ideal environment for growing wine grapes. If the land hasn't previously been used for grape cultivation, it must also be tilled and graded to create the ideal drainage and flow for the wine grapes. This time-consuming process again takes several weeks to a few months, and the wine grape can only be planted after that. The process of creating wine has just begun. Following that, the wine goes through the processes of fermentation, blending, maturing, stabilizing, and filtration before being bottled, labeled, and sold on to the market. Since the first wine grapes were planted in Sula in 1995, the first bottle of wine wasn't really sold until 2000. How did Sula dominate the wine business and gain an advantage over rival companies? The Maharashtra Grapes Processing Industry Policy 2001, a government policy adopted in Maharashtra in 2001, was the first factor in the development of Sula. In other words, starting a wine firm was very challenging before 2001, and even if you did, you had to secure permits for the land, the power, and other infrastructure needed for a vineyard. Second, the excise charge on old wine factories was set at 100% of the cost of production, meaning that even if you spend 1,000 rupees to produce a bottle of wine, the excise duty on it will cost you another 1,000 rupees. The wine producer's ability to access the Indian markets was undoubtedly made extremely difficult by this. However, following the implementation of this policy, the excise duty on old wine industries was decreased from 100% to just 50% of the production expenditure, and it was reduced for new wine industries to just 25% of the production expenditure. The government also made financing for the wine companies simpler and introduced a single window clearing procedure for crucial licenses, plots, electricity supplies, etc. Now, licensing and funding were made simpler, and the tax related barrier to entrance was also removed. This is what led to a significant growth in the state of Maharashtra's annual wine production, whereby wine production shot to 20 million liters by 2008. The Indian government added the cherry on top by increasing the customs and excise duty on imported wines to 150%. Therefore, no wine from abroad could enter India. It is so obvious that the market was made favorable for all Indian wine producers and not just Sula. Now that you know this benefit was available to all Indian wineries, you might be wondering what Sula did differently to become the industry leader it is today with a 52% market share. Sula was simply another winemaker up until 2008, when one of the biggest economic crises in history occurred. A company called Chateau Indage Estate Vineyards had a huge 60% market share in India back in 2008. The issue was, though, that they made some incredibly risky bets, which led to unsustainable losses in 2008. In the end, this company had to be sold. The farmers who provided the wine grapes were utterly abandoned when this large firm stopped down. In order to create a win win situation where both parties benefit, the farmers who grow these grapes agreed to a 10 to 12 years contract with the wineries. Keep in mind that it takes at least 3 to 5 years to cultivate wine grapes to a productive level. Second, it would take another 1 to 2 years for the farmers to clear their fields and begin a new plantation, preventing them from switching to a different crop plant right away. And even if they had cleared their fields after a year, it would still take them 4 more years to get back on the market if there was another buyer. The farmers were essentially in a difficult situation as a result, and Sula stepped in as a savior for these farmers in this situation. They swiftly agreed to contracts at reasonable pricing so that Sula could purchase high quality grapes cheaply and the farmers would receive a consistent income. Even more remarkable is what Sula did second. Sula discovered that Indian wine consumers differ significantly from those who consume wine abroad. India consumes less than 100 ml of wine per person annually, compared to the global average of 13% wine makes up less than 1% of total alcohol consumption. Wine consumption is greater in developed countries and can reach close to 30% in Europe. They noticed that while wine drinkers worldwide are over the age of 45, wine drinkers in India were relatively young. In fact, a latest study found that while 65% of wine drinkers worldwide are over the age of 45, 50% of Indian wine drinkers are actually millennials, or those between the ages of 23 and 37. Sula understood that they needed to do something unique to appeal to millennials rather than the Gen X, which refers to our parents' generation. Sula made a significant investment into something called the Sula Fest during the 2008 financial crisis while everyone else was scrimping and saving. This is how it looks. Sula Fest is a festival that is, in a nutshell, aims to provide you with an unforgettable experience of peaceful music, camping under a sky filled with stars, breathtaking sunrises, and most importantly, the most exquisite variety of Sula wines. You will be shocked to learn that Sula Fest has been a huge success with the attendance of 10,000 people in 2020. Currently, it is one of the biggest wine festivals in Asia, and Sula Vineyards has developed into a resort as well as a travel attraction. Today, it is one of the biggest wine festivals in Asia, and Sula Vineyards has grown into resorts that is so popular with tourists that it receives about 3.68 lakh visits annually, making it the most visited vineyard in the nation. Thanks to this amazing strategy, ladies and gentlemen, Sula now has three major superpowers. Sula became a very well known brand among the millions of Indians, and when many people visited these vineyards, it turned out that the majority of them were experiencing wine tasting for the first time. So, Sula not only helped them create important memories but also taught them about the various varieties of wine they could choose from and the various qualities of wine. And to top it all off, they could simply promote a new wine to tourists if they ever produced one. The final and most essential point is that alcohol advertising is totally forbidden in India. However, Sula came up with a brilliant concept to get over India's restriction on alcohol advertising. Sula discovered that 50% of Indian wine drinkers are in the age rank of 23 to 37. The Sula Fest is all about delicious food, fine wine, shopping, and enjoyable music, and as a result, 10,000 plus visitors each year were suddenly doing more than merely admiring Sula wines. And as a result, Sula and his clients developed a wonderful relationship. Sula became a topic of conversation at gatherings and it created a lot of attention on social media. Despite the law, this is how Sula successfully marketed wine in India. Therefore, while all of Sula's competitors struggled to reach their clients, Sula was not only able to do so but also managed to impress them with its great collection of wines, which gave Sula a very substantial lead over its rivals. Wine companies in India are becoming more well known online and offline thanks to digital media, particularly social media platforms. More clients, consumers, and alcoholic beverages are now available easily thanks to digital marketing. Sula is one of the top 10 most popular vineyards in the world as on Instagram. With about 103,000 Instagram followers and 123,000 Facebook fans, about 14,000 Twitter followers, it has a sizable social media presence. Likewise, viewers' exposure to wine has grown thanks to movies and television programs like Mirzapur, Cocktail, and four more shots, please. One of Sula's cornerstones is their unwavering commitment to quality. Through meticulous vineyard management, sustainable practices, and embracing new winemaking techniques, they elevated their products to international standards. The final question for Sula is that undoubtedly it is a market leader in India. But what if a global juggernaut like Treasury Wine Estates or Diageo entered the country's wine sector? After all, these companies would be able to create more wine varieties and benefit from greater economies of scale than Sula. But what specifically did Sula do that the international players aren't even trying to challenge? The biggest entry hurdle in the Indian wine market is present here, and if you comprehend it, you will see that Sula is essentially the magnet of the Indian wine industry. Firstly, the Indian government levies about 150% import duty on foreign wines. So even if a European company tries to sell wine at 10 euros, which is 900 rupees, when a 150% import duty is applied, it would cost about 2,250 rupees. Only because of the duty, add this up with the cost of transportation and retail commissions, and you will see that while the same quality of wine from Sula comes at rupees 800 just because it's a foreign company, it will end up at costing you rupees 2,500 minimum. Therefore, it goes without saying that foreign wine companies will have a very difficult time entering the Indian wine industry. No doubt, Australian and UK wines can enter India with less duty because of India's free trade agreement. Sula provides wine to 8,000 hotels, restaurants, and caterers through their huge and broad supply chain, and they are now negotiating contracts with more than 13,000 merchants around the globe. It also has 47 distributors, 10 corporations, 23 licensed resellers, 7 company depots, 4 defense units, and a sales force of more than 130 permanent employees as of March 31, 2022. Sula has over the years successfully built and managed a large distribution network, developing strong relationships with distribution and retail partners across the territories. Sula has cemented its status as the undeniable king of the Indian wine business in this way. The business lesson we can take away from the wine king of India is that you must always and always concentrate on creating a strong barrier to entry no matter how successful your business is. With Sula Fest, its supply chain, and its 12-year farmer contracts, Sula has in this case erected some exceptional barriers. So even if a big group wanted to establish a wine company tomorrow, they couldn't build Sula Fest. They couldn't accelerate the winemaking process for more than 3 years, and most crucially, they couldn't employ the contracted farmers overnight. The overseas businesses are also constrained by the excise duty and customs duty barrier, so this is what distinguishes Sula as a unique company. You can create a powerful business by comprehending governmental policies. In this instance, Mr. Samant continued to grow Sula wine in response to every favorable government decision, making him now, figuratively, the wine king of India. The marketing that is focused on experience as opposed to just impressions is also much more effective. While most alcohol businesses have turned to surrogate marketing, Sula has gone above and beyond by creating the Sula Fest to provide their customers and first time wine consumers with the most unforgettable and joyful wine experience. So rather than just being a sophisticated advertisement, the Sula experience makes it much more effective, and as a result, Sula's perception will always be superior to that of other brands. If this isn't the pinnacle of greatness, then what is? There you have it, the remarkable growth story of Sula Vineyards, a testament to vision, perseverance, and the pursuit of excellence. If Sula can turn a barren land into a flourishing business, imagine what you can achieve with your dreams. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.